Joe Yenny Stadium in Metairie, the site for this 10-5A contest this afternoon between the Cavaliers of De La Salle High School and the Raiders of Archbishop Rummel. And a pleasant good afternoon to you. Ken Trahan along with Renee Nadeau. Playoff implications for one team here today. That would be Rummel. The Raiders are in already. The Cavaliers, Renee, were eliminated last night from contention, but they'll show up today and play well, largely because they're pretty big and talented up front.
A lot of pride involved there. You have a couple of guys, Marquise Hills and Marcus Jasmine, a couple of big future college prospects. And, of course, there's a lot of pride at stake here, Kenny.
De La Salle very good offensively, and the trigger man, in my estimation, Vincent Saylor is a guy that can play Division I football.
Vincent Saylor over 1,500 yards, 313 for touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He makes the engine run, and number 10, you hear his name quite often, might toss the ball 25, 30 times.
We expect that to happen. De La Salle's record could easily be different based upon some of the results they've had against quality opposition this year. As far as Rummel is concerned, they're in the playoffs already, but you wonder how they'll respond to a tough loss, their first of the season against their arch rival, Archbishop Shaw, a week ago.
A little dose of pride there, Ken, but I tell you, this is going to be a big game for them, and it's all in the pecking order for the power ratings. They want to win this game and go big into the playoffs, and they have the horses to pull the wagon.
Darius Wilson injured, but he'll play here. He's been beat up for a few weeks. Did play last week, though wasn't very effective. But the key for Rummel, very clearly, is number 3, Darren Parquette.
Darren Parquette, over 1,600 yards, 17 going for touchdowns. And I tell you what, Kenny, wherever he is on the field, you have to be aware of him. 301 yards against South Lafourche. He can break it anywhere in the field.
The third member of our broadcast team is Carlton Cisco, who has this report.
Thanks a lot, Kenny. I just spoke with Rummel head coach Jay Roth, and he told me that De La Salle, the Cavaliers, have more talent than any team he's faced all season long. Pat Murphy, the senior wide receiver and punter for Rummel, will not play today. The key in this ball game for both offenses, ball control. Let's take it back to Ken Trahan and Renee Nadeau.
The Cavaliers and the Raiders coming up when we return in just a moment with the opening kickoff. You're watching the High School Game of the Week on WHNO TV 20.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Bone Ford, Sean Curtis Christian School, Prime Equipment, Expressway Lanes, Millerine Seafood, AAA Trophies, DT Fashions, AMF Bowling, and WHNO Sports.
The High School Game of the Week is back on WHNO Sports with expanded coverage of 5 parishes. Tune in each Saturday throughout the regular season and the playoffs. See your favorite prep team in action as they compete for a state championship.
Tune in Saturday at 3 p.m. for first-round playoff action only on WHNO Sports.
The Rummel Raiders taking the field on a beautiful afternoon in Metairie, clad in their red jerseys with their Columbia blue and white piping as well. De La Salle in their whites this afternoon with their maroon look, maroon helmets, maroon striping, and numerals as well. De La Salle won the toss, but they elected to defer. Rummel thus will receive the opening kickoff. And handling kickoff duties is Martin Quinones for the Cavaliers, and we're underway. This kick is coming down short, and this is Eric Smith to the 20-25. Smith crosses the 30 and runs hard to about the 36-yard line. A good job by the sophomore, Eric Smith for Rummel, to give the Raiders their first possession of the ball game. The Rummel offense is a very good one. Of course, it's predicated on running the football. Nick Guimar, the tight end. Garrett Weibel, a huge sophomore tackle. Mario Loyacano, big at guard, with Impastato, a fighter at center. LaCruz and Gleason on the left side. Michael Markey is in there starting. Patrick Murphy will not play. He has a knee problem, is out. Darius Wilson, Darren Parquette, Kevin Stelz complete the Rummel offense. Cephas Williams is put wide to the left. Everyone else is tight for Rummel. A 50 front for De La Salle on first down. Stelz the up back, Parquette the deep back from the 36-yard line. To no one's surprise, this is Parquette trying to slide outside. He'll get the corner. Parquette with speed. First down Rummel to the De La Salle 44-yard line as immediately Darren Parquette makes his presence felt with good blocking on the play. And that's a gain of 20 yards for Parquette.
Not surprising, Kenny going to hit the corners and test the outside of De La Salle. You can expect De La Salle to shoot those cornerbacks and do a little run blitzing to maybe force everything inside, where Jasmine and Hill both exceed 300 pounds, and they feel like it's a little bit of a matchup with the Rummel big up front.
Out of bounds by Joey Carpenter. We'll check the De La Salle defense in a moment. Raiders at the Cavalier 44-yard line. Again, the I formation behind Wilson, and this is Parquette. Bouncing it outside again, as he's apt to do. In trouble this time and down for a short gain. Parkett likes to bounce everything outside. That is unquestionable based upon having watched him for a while now. As Desi made the stop for De La Salle, the Cavalier defense, a 50 front, Jamison, Jasmine, Bacchus, a very good nose tackle, Hill and Boyd. Carpenter and Johnson, the linebackers. Johnson will shadow Parkett everywhere. Grainer, Tolliver, Desi, and White in the secondary for De La Salle. 2nd and 8 Rummel at the 42-yard line in Cavalier territory, just underway. Parkett left this time, looking for a block from Stelz. He follows Stelz out of bounds to the 38-yard line, as he used Kevin's block pretty well in that instance and picks up about 4 or 5 yards. There's no doubt that Parkett wants to bounce everything outside, Renee. He's a big kid, has yet to really prove that he's a great inside runner, but he is dramatically improved as far as being an outside runner, one of the best in the state, if not the best.
Well, total yards, he is the top in this area, over 1,600 yards. We mentioned 17 touchdowns he has on the season, and he's a big-time college prospect. 6.6 yards per tote. LSU, Colorado, Tulane, Notre Dame, Miami, and Purdue are among his suitors.
With LSU in the lead on the quick snap, Wilson wants to roll right, wants to throw for the first time and does, and that's overthrown, intended for his tight end, Nick Guimar. So the Cavaliers have held. Raiders with the decision here. It's possible 4-down territory. It's also a possible pooch punt situation. We shall see what Jay Roth decides. Now Patrick Murphy is their punter, and he's out of this game. So that is a major concern for Rummel here today. Not having their punter is going to create some problems, and that might infect the decision here. And we're looking at a possible field goal attempt, it appears, by Chris Molina, who's outstanding, 11 for 14 on the year, but this would be from 55 yards and way over at the left hash mark. And Rummel's taking a lot of time trying to get this off. I'm not sure they're going to make it. Now they want a player on at the last moment. That is Guimar. I'm not sure they'll get this off. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. They get the snap down. Molina gets it away. We'll never get there. And that's going to be fielded at the 5-yard line. Coming back over this Desi, left side of the 10 to the 15. And he's downed at the 20-yard line by Stelz. Well, again, that's one of the reasons that you don't punt there, is you don't have your punter in Patrick Murphy. So in that particular instance, the place kick is like a punt.
Well, yes, and he's got a 43-yard range, a little beyond what he can do, Ken, but I guess it all even out the same because they're at the 20-yard line, and I guess you'd expected a punt to maybe roll into the end zone unless you had a pooch punt.
De La Salle offense with Nolan, King, Walker, Monroe, Parnell, and Jasmine, who goes both ways quite a bit. He'll alternate. Up front, the Cavaliers with good skill people. St. Julian, Spencer, Davis, the wideout. Sailor, the quarterback, Hatfield, and James will be in the backfield. And immediately a flag is down and likely encroachment against Rummel. Raiders will play a 3-man front against this Cavalier passing offense.
All right, get ball, encroachment, defense. Still first down.
The voice of Bob Taylor, our referee, Landy Lanza, the umpire. Dave DeLon, the head linesman. Dave Mouton is the line judge. Joe Taranto, the back judge. The game clock operator is Skip Chatelaine, and the 25-second clock operator is Darren Villavasso. So it's 1st and 5, a favorable down for De La Salle. They snap it direct here to Hatfield, up the gut, and Hatfield has a first down as he crosses the 30 to about the 31. So a little bit of trickery by the Cavaliers. Coached by Gwayne Matthews, they'll operate without a huddle, so they're going to operate quickly here. They'll go without a huddle. The Rummel defense. Lamy will be in and out. They'll play a 3-man front. It's going to be Mills, Dabdoob, and Lamar Mills up front for Rummel. Linebackers are Gordon, Clark, and Dubuque. Secondary, you'll have some alternating players back there. Graff, Dunbar, Whitman, and Rappold are the starters. Sailor from the shotgun, the quick hitch. That is Thomas, the big running back, wrapped up by Dubuque. No gain on the play. James Thomas, a very talented 198-pound senior, does get it across the 30. They're going to give him forward progress to the 31-yard line, it appears, for a gain of 1 at 2nd and 9, as Michael Dubuque, the big 220-pound senior inside linebacker, makes the stop.
And he's a team captain on defense, Ken. He peels back, makes the stop, and De La Salle uses that short passing game like a running game. 9 and 10 yards, get into the receiver's hands and let him do something in the open field.
Again, the spread offense out of the shotgun, and Sailor will deliver in the slot, and it's incomplete. The receiver wasn't looking for the ball. Clock was shadowing Robert Davis up the seam, and he really didn't get turned in time to see the football, and it will be 3rd down and 9 for the Cavaliers. In Quay Matthews' mind, Vincent Sailor is better than Cedric Jefferson and Brandon Butler, his 2 previous quarterbacks who are both outstanding. He has the great ability to read, a very prepared athlete. He audibles 35% of the time. He's a true leader as well in the natural sense. Under center this time and pitching to Thomas, and oh my. Say hello to Stephen Gordon. As the junior outside linebacker, unfazed, unscathed, and doing some damage.
And he's that designated blitzer on the outside. Kenny, he's 5'11", 185, really comes hard on the outside, has 6 sacks to his credit, and he's also doubles as a deep snapper on punts and all, and I tell you what, he will chase you down. Did a great job forcing De La Salle into a punting situation.
Randall Meister, leading punter in the district, stands at about his 11, deep to receive. Darren Gogrieve and Terrence Dunbar for the Raiders. They have the return on. It's a nice punt by Meister. This is Gogrieve from his 35. And returns at about 10 to the 45, and the Raiders with their second possession in good field position with 8:32 to play first quarter. And no score here from Joe Yenny Stadium. What a glorious afternoon we have here in Jefferson Parish. Incidentally, the Rummel Raider Band and Chapelottes are not here today. They're at a competition in Lafayette. Seems strange to be at a Rummel game and not have those outstanding outfits present. Kind of a strange feeling. I haven't seen many of their games over the years. Raiders break the huddle. Gogrieve and Michael Markey to the left. Stelz slotted to the right in motion now. Counterplay, Parkett. This time he tries to cut it in and there's nothing there. Slow developing play, and the Cavaliers were equal to the task, and that's the outstanding nose guard, Damon Bacchus, who was there to make the stop. Ray Matthews calls him his best defensive lineman, and that's a mouthful when you have Jasmine and Hill up front.
Yeah, that is a lot to say. 5'9", 260, maybe the best shot putter in the district. Very intelligent, nose traps, down blocks, recognizes very, very quickly. Kenny, he's got 5 tackles for losses, and he jammed on Parkett pretty quickly.
2nd and 9. Wilson on the straight roll this time, wants to run, gets a block, has midfield, has the 45, has the 40, first down Rummel on a gain of 14 by Darius Wilson. Darius Wilson has a separated shoulder, a groin pull, a pulled abdominal muscle, and he's playing. Last week was tentative against Shaw. He was not tentative here.
And I tell you, a good run here, but so much attention was focused on Parkett that it opened up a running lane right here. Look at this running lane right here for Wilson. They were so aware of Parkett that first down picked up by Darius Wilson.
Great seal block by the wideout there. It appeared to be Russo. High formation from the 40-yard line. Stelz now slots to the near eye. Wilson on the quarterback draw following Stelz, which is always a good idea, and he picks up about 4. Kevin Stelz may be the best blocking fullback in Louisiana. He's 240 pounds in all of it, and just a junior.
And Kenny, he bench presses 455, squats 450. He is a man. When you run into him, it's like running to a mini garage. And I tell you, he opens some great holes, does a good job for Parkett and Wilson, and he'll be back for another year.
Raiders run their plays in with their wide receivers. Russo checks in with those duties this time. He splits wide right, and it's Gogrieve to the left. 2nd and 6 at the Cavalier 36-yard line. Option play to Parkett. Stelz gets his block, and Parkett cuts it in. First down and more to the Cavalier 25. Good-looking play for 11 yards by the Raiders. Again, anytime you have the opportunity to run behind the block of Stelz, you're typically going to have success.
And he had a great kick-out block on that last play. Ken, he's like an offensive guard, so when he hits on the outside, he's pulling for you, and Parkett read it and cut it back. Good pitch by Wilson. It didn't start off too good, but first down for the Raiders. And they want the 7- and 8-minute drive, and Jay Roth feels like he's going to need at least 35 points to win this game.
Wide side, left side. Stelz again will motion. And Parkett once more inside. Cuts it into the 20-yard line as he has about 5 picking his way. As an inside runner, he's really a guy that reads and picks his hole as compared to sticking it in there, which is not a criticism. That's simply his style.
He's got good explosion, Ken. And the thing about Parkett, he gets under your pads and he explodes. He's got his strength is in his legs. Good block right here. Great block on the offside. I think that was Gleason. And it allows Parkett to get upside. But he'll get underneath those pads and drive you. And, well, I tell you what, he really became committed this offseason for his junior and senior year.
Gleason, a talented sophomore, rolling right on 2nd down. Wilson. And he's going to be hit and wrapped up. Short gain, maybe a yard. He was waiting for something to develop as opposed to sprinting to the corner. Couldn't quite get there. As the Cavaliers getting the job done defensively, it will be 3rd down. Jamison Jamison making the stop from his defensive end spot. The senior had 36 tackles coming in. And it will be 3rd and 4 Rummel at the Cavalier 19. 5:20 in counting first quarter. There is no score. Ken Trahan along with Renee Nato from Joe Yenny Stadium. Again against a 50 front. Counter left, Parquette cuts it back, and he will not get there. Stops short of a first down at about the 17-yard line. Has 2, possibly 3 on the play, and a likely field goal attempt forthcoming here on 4th and 2.
He was mad at himself, Ken, because Stelz had it blocked outside, and he should have bounced it outside. Just read it wrong, tried to cut it back, and just can't make that decision that quickly. He should have cut it outside. Good block right there, Loicano. And Parquette, look, try to cut it back inside, make something happen. You got to make those quick decisions, and in this case, it was wrong.
Rummel is going for it. It's 4th down and a long 2. It's more like 3, 2.5. They will go. Quick snap, Wilson looks to flare it, and that's a backwards pass, and that's going to be a touchdown the other way unless Wilson can catch it. There go the Cavaliers. Wilson, for all he's worth, makes the tackle on James Jamison on a play that looked aborted from the start. It really appeared to be a lateral off the hands of Parquette, not particularly well thrown. Jamison up with a big play for the Cavaliers to the Rummel 31.
He comes bolting in from the left defensive end, and Jamison makes a big play. The team captain plays with so much heart. Wilson catches him and prevents a possible De La Salle touchdown. This gives the Cavaliers new life as they're at the 30-yard line of the Rummel Raiders.
And Vincent Saylor with a short field to work with starts for the Raiders 31. Single back behind him, and that's a give to Thomas. Short yardage. Penetration by Dubuque and by Benny Mills. Lamar Mills also in there to finish him off. Almost good up front with the 2 Mills brothers. Benny and Lamar, Benny Mills and Brandon Dabney, top Division I prospects. Dabney having committed verbally to Colorado, but considering options, and Mills being recruited by many. A gain of 1 at 2nd and 9 at the Rummel 30 for the Cavaliers, and a trip set right. 5 wide out set for De La Salle. Boy, they'll spread you out. Now they have 4 receivers right with a blitz coming. This is tipped into the air. It's anybody's ball, and it's intercepted to the 35-40, cut back 45-50, all the way back to the De La Salle 43-yard line is Greg Whitman, the safety, and the Raiders get it right back on the turnover.
And Greg Whitman, as Johnny on the spot comes up and gets the ball right back for the Raiders. The second baseman on Frank Gazzo's baseball team does a great job coming up and turning the ball over back to the Rummel Raider offense, and now the Raiders are banging on the door as they're inside Cavalier territory. Had not been the save by Saylor, he would have been touchdown bound.
Once the ball's tipped like that, straight up into the air, somebody's going to come down with it. We saw that occur. So the Cavaliers unable to take advantage of the Raider turnover. Give it right back. Rummel at the De La Salle 44 with 3:30 to play in the quarter. Parquette this time inside. Breaks through now and breaks loose. He's big and he's strong, and he's down to the Cavalier 22-yard line. That's a gain of 22 and a first down for Rummel. It certainly appears that the Raiders are blocking very well up front early on.
Yeah, and you give him Parquette a crease here, Ken. And as we mentioned, he's got the strength in the lower body. Squats 485, and you're not going to bring him down too easily with just one hit. As Jasmine, a big 300-pounder, bounced off of Parquette, and Parquette just keeps those legs moving a la Walter Payton and that kind of style. Finally gets the first down near the 22-yard line, and good play as the drive continues.
Impostano and recruit sealed their net, and did you see the block of Loicano? A pancake 10 yards down the field with his man.
He's a little nasty, Kenny.
Wilson off of the fake. He has the receiver open deep. It's underthrown and almost intercepted. The tight end was open. Eddie Carlton, but that pass was almost picked off as Wilson's pass was underthrown.
And Carlton had to revert to defense and keep that ball from being intercepted. Had he not batted it away, it would have been picked off as Darius Wilson dials a little shorter than his receiver. And you see Carlton had to come back and swat it away. Potential interception by Torin White.
Torin White got his hands on it, but a good job by Carlton, as Renee mentioned, to play defensive back. In essence, on 2nd and 10, Raiders at the 22, off the option left to pitch to Parquette, behind the block of Stelz, and again, he made the wrong read. off of the block of Stells. Stells was kicking out, and Marquette ran outside.
And he's got to cut it back. He's done that in the past. He hasn't cut it back in this game. Got a good look at number 70, Marcus Jasmine. He's the premier offensive and defensive lineman for the Cavaliers. Had USC, Georgia, Florida, LSU, Notre Dame, Michigan, and Tulane all have offered the big 6'5", 300-pounder Marcus Jasmine. He'll be a good player. Not sure which side of the ball he'll play on.
Marquette comes out of the game after that carry, and Eric Smith, the sophomore, is into the game for Rummel. Smith, the talented sophomore, 5'10", 175. He's had but 8 carries this year because of the extensive usage of Marquette. Wilson is rolling right out of the shotgun. Has lots of time, still looking, and throws overthrown. Not close. Wilson hit as he delivered by Joey Carpenter, and this time we'll likely see the field goal attempt, which was a shoot last time out. So Rummel has had 3 opportunities on the plus side of the field, and unless they can convert the field goal here, they will have come away empty. So they've got to put some points on the board with these opportunities early.
They really do, Ken. In fact, the Raiders, Darius Wilson has had a great season. He played hurt. He's really pulled the Rummel Raiders out of that St. Aug game. Had 165 yards passing and a couple scores, 130 yards rushing. And he's had 3 100-yard performances rushing this past season.
37-yard attempt, left hash mark by Molina. Low snap, Markey gets it down. Kick is in the air, and Molina has drilled it. He's a weapon. Time out on the field, 2:30 to play first quarter. It's Rummel 3, De La Salle nothing. You're watching the high school game of the week on WHNO TV 20. This game is brought to you in part by Prime Equipment Company, distributors of man lifts, tower generators, scissor lifts, and more for commercial and industrial contracting. For all of your lifting needs, call Prime Equipment Company. Nice return to about the 30-yard line for the Cavaliers. Tolliver handling those duties, and De La Salle with possession about their own 31, but a flag down, so stop everything. This is going to negate that field position and make it worse for the Cavaliers. So Rummel on top now, 3-0 on the Chris Molina 37-yard field goal. This will end up going back to the Cavalier 15 or so, I believe. It's a clip, if I'm not mistaken, having watched the play.
We had a clip, turning return, first down.
Back to near the 11-yard line, so the Cavaliers are going to here a bit to start this possession.
You know, Ken, it'd be interesting to see what the De La Salle offense does this possession. Wayne Matthews feels like he needs 2 scores by at least 2 minutes into the second quarter. He's a little behind that pace right now.
This is Thomas sliding left, breaks a tackle. He's big, he's strong. Now that's the way you like to see a running back go. He gets those shoulders squared and bangs upfield to about the 25. First down Cavaliers and a gain of 14.
He's a banger. He hit surgery in 1998, 879 yards in spite of it. He bounces it outside, outruns Michael Dubuque, and that is outside pursuit, and did a great job, as you mentioned. He's got some suitors. We'll talk about some of the college. Georgia Tech has offered. You have Texas A&M Northeast and Louisiana Tech also for his interest.
At the 24-yard line, Thomas remains the running back. He's had knee problems for 2 years. He's played through them this year. He's a tough kid. Bounces it outside. Got a good block. Gets another great block. To the 30, 35, 40. Thomas barrels out of bounds. At about the 46-yard line, has another Cavalier first down. Outstandingly executed play. Terrific blocks at the point of attack. And Thomas running hard.
And Cutno, watch the block on Cutno. Well-designed play right here, Kenny. Pulling out in front of him is King, and watch Cutno's block. Did a great job. Bang, right there. Cuts him loose. A great overstep the potential tackler for a nice gain. You can see why with that 4.1, 4.51 speed, so many colleges are looking at him. 438 yards, a couple of scores for the campaign.
20 more for Thomas and a first down at the 44-yard line. Saylor surveys. He calls a lot of those plays at the line of scrimmage and the pitch left. And a nice running play goes out of bounds near midfield. That's Darrell Hatfield, the talented freshman is very fast, a great compliment to Thomas. He can catch, and what a future he has. Came into this game with 64 carries for 281 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Wayne Matthews feels like he may be the best player in the district his senior season. Only a freshman with 4.49 speed. Got a lot of running style like a Gale Sayers or a Benny Malone. He's got a little bow-legged, but can be hard to knock down. 165 pounds. He has great vision and great confidence in his abilities and his offense.
2nd and 4 off of the fake. Sailor will deliver. It's caught in the flat and eluding a tackler, and getting upfield is Everett Nolan, and he has a first down to the Raider 42. That's a gain of 8. As Everett Nolan, the tight end, the 6'1", 181-pound junior, is able to get forward for first down yardage, and the Cavaliers have a nice drive in progress.
That was a good little rollout by Sailor Kennan as Nolan grabs number 6 on the season, and it's a mismatch. Nolan is a little bigger for the defensive backs and a little quicker than the linebackers, so one-on-one with Nolan is a good match for the Cavaliers.
Call at the Raider 42-yard line officially. That's Nolan, the tight end, slotting right. Thomas slides outside again, and this time Stephen Gordon wraps him up and makes a tackle for a loss, his 2nd such tackle of the game. Stephen Gordon, a junior linebacker, he'll be back next year. Came into this game with 6 sacks. Now he has a couple of tackles for losses here in the game. Let's head down to Carlton Cisco for this update.
I talked to De La Salle head coach Dwayne Matthews before this afternoon's game. They want to run a play every 12 to 13 seconds, and that may sound a little bit surprising when you have so many Cavaliers going both ways. Not to the head coach. He says they condition so much they can be up to the task and get the job done. They want to try and catch that Rummel defense in substitution problems and gain an advantage. Back upstairs.
Great pressure from the Raiders, and again, that's Stephen Gordon from the outside, who has come up huge early in this game. Sailor never had a chance.
Well, he's really emptying his bucket as Gordon comes shooting from the outside and puts the blitz as 7th, as you mentioned, 7th sack of the season. And what a big play this is. Now it's 3rd and long cab ride for De La Salle.
As the first quarter winds down, that will be the final play of the first quarter here at Joseph Yenny Stadium in Metairie. So at the end of 1 quarter of play, it is Archbishop Rummel 3, De La Salle nothing. You're watching the high school game of the week on WHNO TV 20.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Bone Ford, Sean Curtis Christian School, Prime Equipment, Expressway Lanes, Millerine Seafood, AAA Trophies, DT Fashions, AMF Bowling, and WHNO Sports.
Sailor bobbles the snap, it's still loose, and what's the call? They stopped the play prior to a flag down on the far side of the field, and that's fortuitous for De La Salle considering the way that play was unfolding.
Get ball. Ball start. Offense.
It's one of those plays, Renee, where you're glad you committed an infraction.
The interesting thing on that left side, Ken, you can see Gordon come shooting in from the outside again, and just a wide snap that Sailor couldn't control. But, you know, the left side is manned by committee. Marcus Jasmine goes 1 series. He's spelled by Marquise Hill, and Damon Bacchus is the 3rd as they rotate every other series. So it's manned by committee. Do a pretty good job in pass protection. All big left tackles.
From the 47, clock blitzing, and the middle screen to Thomas. He's hit by Dabdoob and stopped at about the 48. Dabdoob read it well as he dropped into coverage and tackles Thomas after a 6-yard gain. And it will be 4th down for the Cavaliers and about 20 yards to go.
And, you know, you mentioned he's committed to Colorado. He makes big plays, Dabdoob does. Not by the book necessarily, but he ran a 4.9 at the LSU camp this past summer and just makes plays everywhere. He will surprise you. Before the game is over, he'll have a bushel full of tackles.
Meister on to punt. And again, Gogreve and Dunbar will drop deep for Rummel. Just underway, 2nd quarter. Raiders lead the Cavaliers 3-0. Quick snap and lots of time for Meister to deliver another nice punt. And again, it's Gogreve. Dunbar with a good block. Nice cutback by Gogreve. He moves another tackle. Flag down, however, and this will come back. Good return by Gogreve, but the Raiders will be penalized here, no doubt. St. Julian and White were there to make the stop for the Cavaliers. And this will be a hold against Rummel, according to Bob Taylor, which will set the Raiders back. This will be their worst field position to originate a drive with thus far this afternoon.
And you know, the Raiders don't pass very much, Ken, but Darius Wilson can't throw it up. He's got 636 yards passing, go along with 6 scores.
Return, first down.
Biggest problem for Rummel, though, is that they're missing their best receiver, Patrick Murphy, who's out of this game, having gotten hurt against Shaw last week. So you really lose a lot there. As Murphy leads this team with 16 catches, and Rummel starts deep in its own territory at its 10, with receivers to either side. And Parquette to the left. Nice cutback here. Now that's a good cutback by Parquette. Ran with vision and made a quick decision, Renee, and got himself 8 or 9 yards.
He did, Ken, and that's what the colleges like about him. But he can really turn it on and turn it off. He wrote some school records, as we mentioned. He's got 3 of the top 5 rushing days in school history. 301 yards against South Lafourche, 280 against Holy Cross, and 239 against Brother Martin. Brother Martin with 4 scores in that contest.
Another great block by Stelz and a good block downfield by Vincent Impastato. It's 2nd down and 2 from the 18-yard line. Parquette has a first down and more as he crosses the 20 and gets out near the 25.
Ken, you mentioned that center position. Impastato had a lot of tradition there. His dad, Big Nick, manned that position back in the 70s, and Dominic, his older brother, manned the center position for the Rummel Raiders just a few years ago. Darren Parquette following Stelz through a gaping hole. Good for a first down, and boy, I tell you, he's starting to gain a little control running downhill here in the 2nd quarter.
Well, once he gets going forward and gets his shoulders squared, he's 210 pounds. He's a load. Stelz, the fullback, pops it. Kevin Stelz crossing midfield, lost the ball, but he was down. He's at the Cavalier 46 with a first down for Rummel. 29 yards for Stelz.
I tell you, Kenny, when he's running, that is a mini bus that you release the brake on. Look out. He will flatten you. It's like running over soft drink cans if you get in his way. Number 14, Torrin White, tries to hold on and take a ride on this big bull. Goes for a first down past the midfield stripe and into Cavalier territory.
Outstanding block by Corey LaCruz, just back from injury. Played center for Rummel last year, left guard this year, just a junior. This offensive line is going to be something to behold next year. From the 46-yard line, the Raiders. And Parquette with a good block again, but this time tackle from the side. Nice pursuit by Rochelle Johnson, who's his shadow today. And if Johnson doesn't make that tackle, that's a big problem for De La Salle. But he's a good athlete at 6'1", 170, and a junior, their best linebacker, their leading tackler. He's very good. And again, his assignment today is wherever 3 goes, so goes he.
Rochelle Johnson is one of the hardest hitters on that defense. He's like a bad train wreck when he makes contact, kind of like a Jack Tatum or Mel Blunt, kind of a throwback to the old school.
From the 44 on the option, Wilson in trouble, nowhere to go. He somehow slithers through one tackler and gets a yard or 2 near the 42, but not much there this time as the Cavaliers were stout up front. Torrin White comes up from safety to make the stop. Cavaliers are not going to respect the Rummel passing game, especially with their best weapon, Murphy, out of the game. They're going to teach safeties up all day and try to force the Raiders to throw the football, such as right now on 3rd and 6 from the De La Salle 43-yard line.
And the Cavaliers know that Rummel's probably going to go wide with Parquette, although he's not in the backfield. Well, he's on the wing right now.
He's slotted to the right now, so this is a definite pass formation Rummel, and Parquette's in motion trying to isolate him. Wilson looks to throw the slant. Sliding catch by Russo. First down, Raiders at the Cavalier 33. That's an outstanding catch by Michael Russo. 6'1", good target, 165. Just a sophomore who had 2 catches against Shaw last week, his first 2 of the year.
Yeah, Michael's going to be a good one. Had a chance to be around that young man as a youngster, and he's going to be a good one. Works very, very hard. Kind of quiet, but he brings it to the table and does a great job, gives you everything he has, and he's going to be a good one.
You mentioned Impastato, you mentioned Russo. A lot of family connections now where Rummel's concerned. Just goes to show you this school is getting a little bit older now. A lot of second-generation players at Archbishop Rummel. Wilson off the quarterback follow. That's a favorite play of Shaw across the 30 to about the 28. Of course, Shaw has Sharon Carey running that play. Darius Wilson's pretty quick. Not quite as quick as Chiron, but I'll tell you what, when you see it work for somebody else, you put it in yourself, and that's what Rummel has done here.
You know, his repertoire, too. He can throw the ball. He had 221 yards against Jesuit. Little quarterback draw right there with those big guys up front with Loicano, Weibel, Ipostado, Recruits, and Gleason. And, you know, you mentioned Loicano. He will be a big one next year. He's already over 300 pounds, maybe one of the best offensive line prospects in the city next season. And he's got a nasty streak.
He's just come out of the game, and Stephen Mirambell is in at guard. Parquette right side, good seal block. Cuts it inside, and he's down near the 21. Looks to have first down yardage, but he was one tackler away from going the distance, as Rummel is really opening some holes up front against the Cavalier front.
They're just taking it to that big front, and you got Jasmine and Bacchus and Hill up front, and they're just overpowering those big guys and hitting the slants and creases, and Parquette's running with good vision, good block right there by LaCroix.
Again, the lead block by Stelt's just amazing. He seems to get his block on every play. Measurement coming up. Time out on the field. 6:53 to play first half, and it's 3-0 Rummel. This is the high school game of the week on WHNO TV 20. He's tough. You guys don't know what you're looking at. 6:40 to play first half, 3-0. Raiders on top on first down. Wilson gives to Parquette. Trips over his own man, Steltz, and goes down near the 20, maybe a yard. Tried to counter that time, and he kind of bumped into Steltz and couldn't get himself going. Having a big first half nonetheless is Parquette, and it will be second down for Rummel and about 9 from the 21.
You know, Parquette really stepped up in Darius Wilson's absence for a while there, and we mentioned he's averaging over 6.6 yards per tote. He rewrote most of the school's rushing records, but he's going to be a good one at the next level. He's got to step it up. He's committed himself this past offseason, and he's headed for a bright future.
From the 21, Wilson steps up, and he's decked. Looked like he wanted to throw the slant, and he gave up on it pretty quickly there. And he went down pretty quickly because the nose tackle, Damon Bacchus, made the stop. That was not a quarterback draw. That was supposed to be a slant route, and he just felt the receiver was covered and decided to take it upfield, but there was nothing there.
Damon Bacchus just put the wraps on him right here. Boy, I tell you, fought off a block and just really annihilated Darius Wilson. Yeah, I think he was looking for that slant and changed his mind. Wishes he could have that play back again.
So it is 3rd and 9 at the Cavalier 21-yard line. Raiders break the huddle. They will send Gogrieve to the left, Russo to the right. Quick snap. Wilson in trouble. Escapes one man, throws to Parquette. What a job by Wilson. 10 and down to about the 6 is Parquette. First and goal, Rummel. 15 yards, and just a brilliant individual play by Darius Wilson.
Yeah, he was getting shot at from all over the place. They were really blitzing on him, and he made something happen right here. Just didn't give up on it, and Parquette was the eventual recipient of this right here. Look, he's being chased all over the place. Hits Parquette in the open as he's gotten past the coverage. Scoots down the field for a first down. Jordan White once again stopping a potential touchdown, but the Raiders are deep in the red zone here in Cavalier territory.
From the 6-yard line, Parquette the lone setback, and now Wilson calls timeout. Play clock down to 4. Timeout on the field. 4:42 to play in the half. 3-0 Rummel, threatening. This is the high school game of the week on WHNO TV 20.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Bone Ford, Sean Curtis Christian School, Prime Equipment, Expressway Lanes, Millerine Seafood, AAA Trophies, DT Fashions, AMF Bowling, and WHNO Sports.
Back to live action. Parquette stuffed on first and goal from the 6, maybe lost a yard into a lot of traffic. Cavaliers stacked him up nicely, and it will be second down and goal for Rummel from this point. Raiders came into this week 3rd in the state in terms of seedings. This is a huge game for them to protect that seeding and get a great draw, if at all possible, in the playoffs. The game is brought to you in part by Prom Equipment Company, distributors of man lifts, tower generators, scissor lifts, and more for commercial and industrial contracting. For all your lifting needs, call Prime Equipment Company. Parquette to the left. Stelz gets his block. Parquette gets the end zone. Rummel extends its lead. He virtually walked into the end zone there as the play developed well, and Stelz again with an outstanding lead block for the Raiders.
Great seal block by Stelz. He wraps that 248-pound shoulder pads and all around the defender, kicks it inside, and allows Parquette to score touchdown number 18 on the season. And the Raiders jump out to a 9-0 lead, 3:56 to go here in the second.
Chris Molina to try the extra point out of the hold of Michael Markey. Markey did an outstanding job on a low snap earlier on the field goal by the Raiders. Rummel has an outstanding kicking game. Good snap here. Ball down, kick is in the air, and Molina delivers. 3:56 to play in the half. It is now Rummel 10 and De La Salle nothing. An impressive drive for the Raiders. Started way back following the penalty at their own 10-yard line.
And you know, Jay Roth, what he wanted to do, Kenny, is have those 7- and 8-minute drives and score a touchdown. That's exactly what he did this last series. You know, the thing is he wants to keep De La Salle off the field. We mentioned that the one thing Wayne Matthews was concerned about, if he's up or down by 7 points or less in the fourth quarter, he can win it. So it's you can see a good run by Parquette following that seal block by Stelz. He just outraced the defenders into the end zone for his 17th touchdown. And the Raiders are in command right now in a low-scoring affair, which surprised me. Jay Roth felt like he needed 35 points to win this game.
13 plays, 90 yards on the drive. Let's check in with Carlton Cisco on the sideline.
Thanks a lot, guys. During that last timeout, Jay Roth emphasizing his quarterback and his offensive line, we need 6 points. They got the job done. They also told the Parquette running back, Mr. Parquette, to hold on to the ball with 2 hands. He did it. Touchdown. Back upstairs.
Kickoff sails toward the sideline and is picked up on the run of the 8-yard line. Up the sideline and out of bounds at about the 28-yard line. Brouillette makes the tackle. Tolliver with a return for the Cavaliers. Jason Tolliver, and De La Salle will start with 3:50 to play in the half from its own 27-yard line, trailing 10-0.
And you can bet the Cavaliers are going to put it up in the air with 3 minutes, under 4 minutes to go here. And Vincent Saylor, outstanding season,
And
Kenny.
yet their best success offensively thus far has been James Thomas running the football.
But you can bet that Hatfield's going to get in the game. In fact, they want to throw to Hatfield a few times. It'll be interesting to see if it happens this series.
Thomas behind Saylor, a lot of movement by De La Salle per usual, and Thomas will get the football left. Dubuque meets him, and then the red shirt swarm. That's Rummel defense right there. Michael Dubuque stood him up, and then a host of red jerseys came to finish him off. Rummel's real good up front defensively. That's their strength with the likes of Benny Mills, Brandon Dabdu, Lamar Mills, and a very good linebacking core. Dubuque, Clark, Gordon, and Brouillette.
You know, so much is talked about Dabdu.
The 29, Renee.
I'm sorry, so much is talked about Dabdu, but Mills, in his own right, Florida's looking at him real hard, and he's going to be a major college prospect.
Thomas trying to get outside, cuts it in. Gordon hits him, and he's down at the 34-yard line. Good job by Stephen Gordon, who thus far has been the most impressive player on the field.
He has, Kenny. He's really run to the ball well, as all the Rummel defense does, and you can see they're swarming those running backs for De La Salle. Gordon has done an outstanding job. Look, you see, as soon as the ball is snapped, they're moving sideline to sideline. Good skate move by Gordon, and turns it inside, makes the stop.
It is third and a long 3 for the Cavaliers at their own 38. We'll call it 4. Counterplay, Thomas running right. Cuts it back, won't get there. Great penetration, and making the stop is Lamar Mills, a very tough sophomore who's going to be quite a player for Rummel. Benny Mills there as well. Lamar really stopping the play from his nose guard position, and the Cavaliers likely will punt here on 4th and 3. And again, it will be Gogrieve and Dunbar dropping deep, as Meister will be in punt formation. Cavaliers taking their time. They don't want to give Rummel the ball back too quickly here, as the Cavalier defense has been on the field virtually the entire first half.
Yes, Saylor has not had a chance to get on track here, and they want to. The De La Salle defense is going to have to come up with a big play to keep Rummel from holding on to this until the half comes.
Cavaliers take a penalty, and I really don't think they mind here. They're trying to eat up as much clock as they can in this situation, and the clock is down to 1:51 to play
Get
in the
ball,
first
delay a
half.
game, offense, 4th down.
Seedings are all that really matter. It doesn't even matter. It matters pride-wise if you win a district, but what really matters is where you're seated. And in some cases, district runner-ups will be seated higher than district champions based upon strength of schedule when you get to the playoffs. End over end. This is going to be short. Takes a Cavalier bounce, and boy, does it ever. Inside the 30, and will finally be down at the 27-yard line. This turns out to be an outstanding punt. 54 yards and no return off of the foot of Meister, the district's leader. And the Raiders will probably keep it on the ground with 1:38 to play in the half and a 10-point lead from their own 27-yard line, leading by the score of 10-0 over De La Salle. For a VHS copy of tonight's game or any of the WHNO high school games of the week, send a check or money order for only $25 to WHNO TV 20, 1100 Jefferson Davis Parkway, New Orleans, Louisiana. The zip code 70125.
You bet Darius Wilson and Parkett will keep it on the ground for the final 1:38.
Markey, the motion man across the formation, and Wilson wants to throw. And stops and delivers. Caught. Tight end Guimar, first down to about the 44. 17 yards. Wilson to Guimar. Nick Guimar, only his second catch of the year. And a nice job by Wilson to get him the football. And they like to roll Wilson to get him to throw the ball because he's not very tall at just 5'7", 5'8".
Well, it goes to show that Jay Roth is not content with 10-point advantage with the high-powered offense the Cavaliers do have. And he'd like to move down the field last minute 22 and maybe put another score on the board, if not a field goal at least.
Minute 15 and counting out of the shotgun. Wilson calls for the football. Harris will run. He has room. Nice footwork by Wilson. Toward the sideline, out of bounds near the Cavalier 33. Has a first down. Good decision. The thing he has is quickness, quick feet. Not flat out fast, but he's quick. There's a difference. He's got it. He made a good decision. He's got a first down and a gain on the play of 21 yards.
Yeah, he's 4'7", which is not blazing fast, Ken, but great decisions. Good feet work right here and cutting against the grain. Boy, I tell you, he tucks that ball and runs away from the pursuit and runs out of bounds, stopping the clock with a minute left to go. He at the 32-yard line, and he's getting closer to Molina's range for another field goal.
To the 32-yard line. Twin receivers right. Gogreen will go in motion. Split backs now. Don't see that formation much. Usually a throwing formation, and it will be here. Wilson will wisely throw it away. No one open as you survey the field. Double coverage on both Parkett and Russo. And he stops the clock with 53 seconds remaining. Wilson, a junior, but he is experienced. He started games as a freshman when Buster Sealing was hurt. And, of course, he was a starter last year. So this kid's played a lot of games for Rummel.
Yeah, he does, Ken, and as he can kill you with his feet or his arm and makes good decisions. What a wealth of experience he possesses. And you know what, a gamer, man. You know, he's hurt right now. He's banged up with so many assortment of injuries, but when the game time comes, he's ready to go, and he's done a great job for the field as a field general for the Rummel Raiders.
He missed 3 games this year due to his injuries. Matthew Dick stepped in, and Rummel won all 3, but Wilson is a guy they desperately need. Quarterback draw. It's wide open off of man-to-man coverage to the 20. And breaks a tackle, and he's down to the 12, and a first down Rummel, and a gain of about 19 for Wilson. Raiders will take a timeout, it appears. Darius Wilson is running much more confidently today than he did against Shaw a week ago. Timeout Raiders, 43 seconds to play in the half. Rummel 10, De La Salle nothing. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports. First and 10 from the 13. Wilson looks, throws in the flat. Parkett open to the 10. Big hit, breaks a tackle out of bounds near the 8. Wilson to Parkett for about 5, and they get the clock stopped with 35 seconds to play in the first half. Second catch of the game for Darren, and that gives him 6 on the year. That's one of the skills they want to see him develop for the next level, is to catch the football.
And Rochelle Johnson again is shadowing him everywhere. Parkett knocked him out of bounds 35 seconds to go, but the Raiders really leaning on that Cavalier defense, hoping to get a score before the halftime expires.
2nd and 5, 8-yard line. Wilson under center. Will pitch to Parquette. Stelz leading the way, gets his block. Parquette toward the corner. He will score. Second touchdown for Parquette. Rummel's lead is now 16-0 as Darren Parquette has scored for the second time.
And Parquette again following his single man entourage of Kevin Stelz. Great block by Stelz. Also a good steal block by Gemmer on the outside as Parquette just outraces to pursuit, hits the corner of the pylon and for his second touchdown of the game and puts the Raiders up by 16 points with the extra point upcoming.
Molina for the extra point with Markey holding here. With 29 seconds to play in the half, Molina has it through. 29 seconds to play first half. It is now Rummel 17, De La Salle nothing. And the Raiders have taken control of this football game, Renee.
They really have, and they've scored. And when you thought they were just going to run the ball down and just kind of run the clock down, they scored a touchdown, and Darius Wilson came out throwing the ball and kind of surprised a few people. And you can see the final play right here as Darren Parquette scooted around the left side for his second touchdown of the game, his 19th score of the campaign, and boy, he's on course for a big game here this evening.
17-0 now. And the Raiders will kick it off. Probably keep it on the ground. Molina will handle the duties this time. Again, Murphy, normally their kickoff man, kicks a lot of touchbacks out of today's game. Hits it high, so they do kick it deep enough to the 7-yard line where it will be returned by Tolliver. And the Raiders close down on him at about the 24 with 22 seconds to play in the half.
And Salle's going to come out firing. You know, the thing is that the big quarter for the De La Salle Cavaliers, they outscored their opponent in the third quarter. Is the only quarter they've outscored their opponent, so you can bet that they're going to have to go to the half and really come out in the second quarter and look to make something happen here as Salle's back deep, ready to toss away.
Looks to Thomas in the flat, but he's leading him too much. And it will be 2nd and 10 with 19 seconds to play in the half. We do want to mention that it's a big day for 5 former athletes of Rummel High School. Coming up at the half, 5 will be inducted into the Archbishop Rummel Sports Hall of Fame. And there are some big names from baseball. Dominic Jambroni, who was an outstanding catcher. From tennis, Tim Siegel, who was an outstanding professional tennis player at that. Wraparound draw and slipping and falling is Thomas. Let's hope he's okay. He lost his footing on the wraparound draw back at about his 17-yard line. The Cavaliers are going the wrong way. Clock wraps him up. Cavaliers probably won't get another playoff. Gary Baracco, the former basketball star and former football stars, the original Rummel coach, Joe Galliano, and Jeff Jones, the all-state running back, to be inducted into the Rummel Hall of Fame at the half. And it is halftime now. And it's been all Raiders as we go to the locker rooms. It's Rummel 17, De La Salle nothing. You're watching. Well, before we go to break, let's wait for Carlton Cisco to get into place as he awaits a visit with Jay Roth here. And Jay's getting over into position to do so, so let's hold everything as the Raiders go gather for their halftime session. And Coach Roth, as he comes over to visit with Carlton, should be pleased based upon what has transpired at this point. There was a lot of concern from Coach Roth about what might happen here today, coming off of the Shaw game a week ago. Carlton is ready, so let's head down to the field. Carlton Cisco is standing by with Archbishop Rummel coach Jay Roth. Carlton?
Coach, off to a good start today.
So far, so good. I mean, we had the ball 3 times early and got no points out of it, so it was a little upsetting, but I'm happy with our defense right now. Very dangerous team, though. Very dangerous.
Deceiving, but it does look more so into the second quarter, Jay. You were wearing them down a little bit with those tosses to the outside.
We did what I wanted to do. We kept the ball, I think, 1 10-minute drive, about 13 plays. We took the ball 80 yards with 2 minutes left, got us 7 points. But we've got to keep controlling the ball and keep their offense off the field.
Best of luck, Coach. Coach Jay Roth. Rummel leads 17-0 at halftime. Back upstairs to Kenny.
Okay, Carlton, you're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Bone Ford, Sean Curtis Christian School, Prime Equipment, Expressway Lanes, Millering Seafood, AAA Trophies, DT Fashions, AMF Bowling, and WHNO Sports.
Julian returned all the way to the Rummel 45 as our second half is underway. I'm Ken Trahan with Renee Nato. It's 17-0 Raiders, but the Cavaliers, great field position to start the second half at the Rummel 45. Sailor to Thomas. Thomas running hard inside to about the 40-yard line, where Lamar Mills drags him down for a gain of 5. So it's second down and 5 for the Cavaliers at that point. De La Salle with the opening possession of the second half. And a key possession for De La Salle if they'd like to get back into the game.
Well, Kenny, you can bet that Sailor's going to air it out a little bit in this series with Thomas in the backfield. He'll have Hatfield at his disposal as well.
Thomas throwing great determination, running very hard near a first down, near the Rummel 40. Close to a first down near the 40-yard line. It will be third down and, maybe a foot here. Possible sneak situation for Sailor. Has Hatfield behind him now. And the motion man is Davis. Hatfield will reverse it and now pitch it to Sailor, and he's wide open, and it is caught, and this will be a De La Salle touchdown. Cavaliers on the board, 35 yards, trick play. Hatfield scores, and the Cavaliers are back in it. Sailor to Hatfield, 35 yards.
Well, you know, Dwayne Matthews and his staff would pull out all stops to come roaring back. As we mentioned, the third quarter is the one quarter that the Cavaliers have outscored their opponents this past season, and they start off with as a ball of fire in the first possession with a 35-yard scoring toss from Vincent Sailor to Terrell Hatfield, and kind of caught the Rummel Raiders by surprise, I guess you may say, Kenny.
Extra point attempt by Guy LeBlanc, left footer. Just a freshman, what a future he has. Good end zone shot for you, and he hooked it. So the extra point attempt fails. Time out on the field, 10:38 to play, third quarter. And it is now Rummel 17, De La Salle 6, as the Cavaliers, off of the outstanding kickoff return by St. Julian, have a short field to work with, and it doesn't take them very long to score. It's 17-6. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports. Well, the kickoff goes out of bounds, and that will result in Rummel getting good field position here. And let's head down to the field where Carlton Cisco is standing by with this report.
Thank you, Ken. Joining me now, Jeff Jones, just inducted to the Rummel High School Hall of Fame. 1974 to 1977, you were a standout here at Rummel, went on to play with Larry Smith and Vince Gibson at Tulane. What an honor.
Yeah, it is. I can't even put it into words. I never thought anything like this would happen. I guess I never thought about it, but we had great years at Rummel. It was a great school. It's still a great school. I love it to death, and I can't even put into words how honored I am.
Jeff, we were talking off camera. I bet you would like to run behind this Rummel offensive line Mr. Parquette has the luxury of doing today.
Yeah, these guys are monsters. It's incredible. These guys are so big. When I was in school, I think about 5-something offensive linemen. I was a running back, and I was probably bigger than 3 of them. There he goes there.
There he goes there. Darren Parquette, big-time touchdowns. Got to make you feel good.
That boy is outstanding.
He's outstanding. Pleasure talking to you. Congratulations. Back up to you, Kenny.
Unbelievable run, by far the most impressive run of the day by anyone. Darren Parquette, Jeff Jones should be proud of that. 65 yards, great blocking, and Rummel answers right away.
Well, you know, Kenny, he did a little bit on his own. Good block by Stouts. Broke 2 tackles right there. Ran away from a potential defender right there. Broke 2 more tackles on the sidelines. Showed great balance. Tight rope in that sideline and ran into the end zone for his 3rd score of the game, his 20th of the campaign. So what a big game he's having, Ken.
He's a tremendous outside runner, and anytime he can get to the corner, any which way, he's going to hurt you in a big way, as Molina is on for the extra point. And Molina has converted. So with 10:24 to play in the third quarter, Rummel has answered quickly, and the Raiders now lead the Cavaliers by the score of 24-6. Let's head back down to the field now where Carlton Cisco is standing by once more. Carlton?
Thank you, Kenny. A real pleasure to interview Mr. Anthony Joe Galliano, the first head coach back in 1962 for Rummel High School. Coach, you've really got to be proud. You've seen so much growth in your lifetime with this school.
I really am. I'm tickled to death to see something that I started and was picked up and done so well. It's really amazing.
What are the biggest changes you've seen over the years?
Well, the biggest change was some of the facilities because it was a new school and they didn't have all the really necessary facilities. At first we used to dress in a classroom, no showers, nothing. And then as they built, and everything was done real well, everything.
A true credit to you, and I know everybody out here loves you. Congratulations. Truly. Back upstairs to Kenny and Renee.
All right, here's St. Julian from his 6. Bounces it outside again, and St. Julian this time is going to be brought down near his 29-yard line. And that's where the Cavaliers will start this possession with 10:16 to play in the third. Rummel leading at 24-6. Darren Parquette now, as we look at Darren, has 18 carries, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing. He's caught 2 passes for 20 yards. Darius Wilson, 8 rushes, 62 yards, and he's 4 of 7 for 45 yards passing. So the two-man gang is coming through in a big way for Rummel here this afternoon. Cavalier football, quick snap. Sailor wants to throw, heavy pressure. Intercepted. Dabdoob will score. Brandon Dabdoob from 19 yards out, and the Raiders are on the board again, and now you understand why he will play at the Division I level collegiately.
You mentioned he runs a 4.940. Kenny, he had a touchdown last year for the Rummel defense. He knows where that end zone is, and Dabdoob, 6'3", 280 pounds, 6'2", 290, and you can see as Sailor is pressured on the corners and threw it into the hands of Dabdoob. Didn't really see him, but he just wanted to unload, and Dabdoob happened to make himself available in the right spot at the right time. And Rummel is blowing the top off with 10:07 to go in the third, 30-6.
We saw Dabdoob run one back against Central Lafourche in the playoffs last year. Runs pretty good for a man his size, as we spoke of earlier, and he's happy, as he should be. High snap this time, but Markey gets it down, and Molina puts it through. The Rummel kick game is very good. 10:07 to play the third quarter. It is Rummel 31, De La Salle 6. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports. Time from his 3. And gets it out near the 25-yard line where Eric Smith wraps him up. And the Cavaliers get it back with 9:59 to play in the third, trailing 31-6. You have to give the Rummel defense a lot of credit for the way they have played this afternoon, Renee.
They've really kept Sailor and company in check, Ken. And, we mentioned earlier that Jay Roth mentioned he needs 35 points at least to win this game. He's close to that. And we have quite a bit of time left here in the third period.
Thomas dives for about 2 across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Benny Mills was there. So is Stephen Gordon, as he's in on his 6th tackle of the game. 2 for losses plus a sack. Raiders lost Charles McDuff, a fine defensive end, early in the season to injury. Cavaliers last week lost a key defensive player, Robert Horton, their outstanding defensive back. Injuries do play a role when you get deep into the season, as we are right now. Patrick Murphy out for Rummel as well. Out of the shotgun, Sailor against the blitz, steps up, and he'll run. And there's Gordon again, hitting him hard, and a flag down for a late hit at about the 27. Gordon had him secured, and someone else came in and hit Sailor late, it did appear. That will cost Rummel 15.
He'll tuck it and go, Ken. He's make some really good decisions. They said, Wayne Matthews and his staff said he reminds a lot in his decisions like a Danny Werfel. Makes a lot of correct checks and things, and great athlete. His expertise is not only on the football.
Personal foul, defense, first down.
His field of expertise is not only on football, but he excels as a shortstop in baseball, and the likes of LSU and Tulane have expressed interest in him as perhaps playing baseball there.
43-yard line, Cavaliers, their own territory. 9:18 to play, third quarter, with receivers to either side. And Thomas with the football, crossing the 45, bangs hard to the 48 for about 5. Benny Mills, Lamar Mills there. The two brothers to secure James Thomas. Give him 4, 2nd and 6 as we look at Stelz getting a blow.
That offensive line of the Cavaliers is going to be put to a stern test. King, Walker, Monroe, Parnell, and of course Jasmine, Hill, and Bacchus are all rotating at left tackle with Jasmine manning that spot, or make that Bacchus manning that spot now.
Thomas hard across midfield to the 49. He's a pile mover. Thomas really a north and south guy with good size, and when he's healthy, he's really good because he has some speed to go along with his size.
We have him listed at 6 feet 215. Ken looks a little bigger than that, and we mentioned he negotiates the 40 and a 4.51. But Georgia Tech has offered Texas A&M, Northeast Louisiana, Louisiana Tech have also among his suitors, and he'll make someone a good power back. May dress out to about 230 by the time he reaches college level or bigger.
Quick snap, 3rd and 2. Hatfield off the counter, first down across the Raider 45 to about the 42-yard line before Brouillette can bring him down with help from Whitman. First down Cavaliers. The no-huddle offense working well thus far here in the third quarter for De La Salle.
Hatfield averaging 4.4 yards per tote with a couple of scores. Got 281 yards since the inside handoff. Good block right there on the inside by Nolan. Allows him to get up the field for a first down. And Hatfield, a freshman, gained a wealth of experience with the absence of Thomas earlier in the season.
Counter play, and Benny Mills wraps up. James Thomas doesn't let him get started. Good idea. Chris Clark there to help out, but Benny Mills really made the play. Mills has been impressive. So has Dabdoo. So has Clark. So has Gordon. So has Dubuque.
You know the thing about Mills, Ken, he's very technique sound. We mentioned Florida has offered also Clemson, Miami, Tulane, and Southern Mississippi are interested in his services. He gives you 48 minutes. Motor is always running, 100% athlete.
Clark has to come out of the game, as I believe he's got some blood, and by high school rule, you have to come out of the game. Not a bad injury. They're just going to wrap it up real quick and put him right back in, but he had to come out by rule. Rummel has to take him a third into the game. Quick snap, Sailor out of shotgun. This time has a lot of time, and he dumps it off complete. Trying to get outside and giving up yardage in the process was Cutno, and a face mask apparently as Gordon wrapped him up, but might have gotten a piece of the face mask.
And Cutno's a dangerous receiver. He really goes after the ball and designed that short passing game. And again, we mentioned they use that short passing game very much like a run to get in the hands of the receiver.
On the defense, first down.
4 or 5 yards down the field and let them kind of do what they can best. And Cutno, good speed, got 13 grabs, make that 14 on the last catch.
So the 15-yard penalty gives the Cavaliers great operating room at the Rummel 27-yard line as we approach 7 minutes to play in the third quarter. 31-6 Raiders with the lead. Great to see Joe Galliano and Jeff Jones as Carlton visited with them. Quick snap, and boy, that's a tough catch, and a good job of securing it for little or nothing by Robert Davis. As again, Gordon was there defensively. Well, Stephen Gordon is just all over the field this afternoon.
He really is. Ken, you know, a catch by Robert Davis. He's the leading receiver for these Cavaliers, 43 grabs. He's going to be a great one, a sophomore, along with Cutno. And the thing about Cutno and Davis, they pride themselves, get this, Ken, in pancake blocks. Against Holy Cross, together they had 8 pancake blocks. Davis stresses out at 142. Cutno a little bigger at 165. Not the biggest, but they give it all they have, play with a lot of heart.
Got another Rummel player that apparently has some blood and has to come out of the game. And that is Brent Rappole, the fine defensive back. So the Raiders keep having to substitute players. Little minor dings, it's football, but by rule, you cannot play with any exposure on the field where blood is concerned.
Brett Rappole also excels on track, and he's a good run support safety, 5'11", 160. Number 4, Brett Rappole.
5 wide out set on 2nd and 9. The 26 Raiders coming, but with time, Sailor delivers deep down the middle. Clark intercepts it. Chris Clark has it, and around the 6-yard line, dropping into coverage as Sailor tried to throw across the green, and Clark, who has good speed and linebacker, reacted nicely.
He's got a great drop, and Sailor just didn't put enough air under the ball as he's getting pressure from Dabdoob and Michael Dubuque. Airs it out, and Clark just extends his 6'1" frame, pulls it in, and gives the ball back to the Rummel offense. Northwest up in Illinois, Northwestern University, Tulane, Memphis, Northeast, USL, and Memphis are after it first clock.
Rummel offense on the field at its own 5-yard line. High formation and give it to Parquette inside, and Darren bounces off a 1, fights hard to about the 10. Good tough run by Parquette there as he continues to build his impressive numbers.
And he was bottled up. He almost got loose there as the defensive players couldn't hold on to him, finally making a tackle after a short gain. Second and about 5 yards to go, and Parquette is just getting stronger as the game goes on, Kevin.
Well, with the way this game is unfolding, Darren Parquette has a chance to end up as the leading rusher in the state of Louisiana. The way things are transpiring here, he was held to 69 yards in the mud in Slop at Los Memphis last week by Shaw High School. 2nd and 5 at the 10. And number 3 will get it again. Finds his hole. First down, Raiders to about the 19. He's running tough now.
And getting good blocks up front as well, giving him the crease. Now he's doing a lot. They want to get him past the line of scrimmage into the secondary to get him isolated with those defensive backs, but and he can run away from those linebackers. But credit that big offensive wall up front for opening some holes. You can see right there as Loyacano and company. Gleason with a good block there allows him to get into the secondary.
Gleason and the coach doing a great job. After Loyacano and Epistano got him started, Garrett Weibel has played well. Boy, that offensive line has really controlled this game. It's 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. That was the biggest concern for Dwayne Matthews coming in. De La Salle now with 6 men at the line of scrimmage. Give it to Stelz, and they stack him up. So Stelz, with only a second carry, the other popped wide open. This one found things a little bit more stiff.
And you know, Dwayne Matthews is going to shoot a safety in a run blitz situation. So Parquette, if he breaks that initial line of scrimmage, he may find himself all alone to run away from the defensive backs. But De La Salle will load up that line with maybe 7, 8, or 9 players on the line of scrimmage to stop that run.
2nd and 9 for the Raiders near the 20-yard line. Receivers to either side once more. Parquette to the left this time. Defeats the first tackle, lost the ball out of bounds at about the 26, maybe the 27, short of a first down. That time, De La Salle defender came out and took out the block of Stelz as a force man. Watch him get low on Stelz here, who was leading the play.
Just trips the interference right there, taking him low and putting Parquette isolating him on defensive back, and he's kind of naked out there by himself. Has the ball knocked out of bounds, but damage had already been done. 3rd and about 3 yards to go, Ken.
Give him about 6 on the play. It's 3rd and 3. 27-yard line. Markey to the right. And Gogrieve to the left. Stelz slotted right. Wide side right. And they motion left and getting off the ball a little bit prematurely, the Raiders. And that will cost them 5.
Dead ball, false start on the offense, still 3rd down.
That'll change things a little bit. You may see Darius Wilson maybe throw it out in the flat to Parquette or one of the receivers and get it down the field now with a 3rd and 8. 3:58 to go here. Pretty comfortable lead, 31-6 over the Cavaliers.
Line of scrimmage will be the 22-yard line. Shifts Stelz into the backfield. Counters with Parquette. Nothing there. He's in a lot of traffic and going down. And a late flag is thrown. As Weibel was getting into it over there with Jamison of De La Salle. No gain officially on the play. Personal foul, De La Salle. That's going to kill the Cavaliers here. They had Rummel stopped. Just can't afford those kind of mistakes when you're down by 25 points.
Jamison and a couple of Jamison from De La Salle and a couple of the wide receivers from Rummel were jawing at each other, and perhaps sometimes you catch the last one to speak.
Ball, personal foul on the defense. First down.
As I mentioned, he was over there jostling with Weibel, who's over 300 pounds, and with Wilson, quarterback. I want to salute Dwayne Matthews, too, for a few reasons. First of all, I think he's the perfect man for the job at De La Salle. A difficult situation. Their male enrollment is under 600. It's really AAA standards, but they choose to play up to 5A and maintain their Catholic League status and play against schools that have enrollments of 1,300 and better. So it's not easy. He's won. He's been to the playoffs. Did that 2 years ago and got him there for the first time in almost 3 decades. Does it with a great attitude, an exciting brand of football. And another thing about Dwayne is I want to salute his honesty, Renee. He did not have to tell his team this morning that they were eliminated from playoff contention. Going into last night, they still had a legitimate shot. And the Covington loss to Mandeville knocked them out of the playoff picture. And he did not have to tell his team that, but I admire his honesty and salute him for telling his team the truth. Because it would have been very easy from a coaching perspective to not tell them and let them go out there motivated and try to win a game thinking that there would be postseason awaiting them. Parquette big hole, but an ankle tackle.
Kenny, the underclassmen will appreciate that and know what kind of man Dwayne Matthews is. And remember, when he tells you something, he means it, and you can bank on it. And, of course, the seniors will respect that. This is their playoff game right here, and they're going to empty everything they have for the school pride and Coach Matthews. Parquette bottled up after a short gain, and they're just going to, Rummel Raiders are going to wind that clock down as much as possible, keep it on the ground, and give Parquette an opportunity, as you mentioned, Ken, to maybe be the state's rushing king.
Gain of 4 at 2nd and 6. Jasmine on that last tackle. Good looking player. Raiders at their own 41. And the counter play right. This looks good. Parquette to the outside, evades one. And the second tackler gets him. Well, that play looked good from the start. Didn't turn out to be as big as it looked initially. He does get about 4, maybe 5, where it will be 3rd down. Marcus Jasmine, amazing. He's only played football in the 8th grade and this year. So the upside for Marcus Jasmine is huge.
Yeah, Kenny, and don't forget he's an all-district basketball player for the Cavalier hard floor team as well when basketball starts. And Parquette turned back by Desi and making the stop after a short gain short of the first down. But yes, Marcus Jasmine bench presses 350 and negotiates a 5 flat 40. He's going to be a great catch for someone.
Parquette with a first down, breaks a tackle, crosses midfield, gets to the Cavalier 44, has about 10, and the Raiders continue to move the chains and move the clock. Jasmine slow to get up. Loyacano checking him out. And that's not Jasmine, but Bacchus. Bacchus tells Loyacano, I'm okay, don't worry about it. Nice sportsmanship nonetheless.
And Parquette following that single-man entourage of Kevin Stelz. Good block right there on Torin White, allows him. But, you know, it's not just the running that Parquette has. It's after the initial hit, and boy, he's taken some initial hits and gotten past them. None more evidence by that 65-yard scamper when he broke 4 tackles and tightrope down the sidelines for a nice run earlier here in the 3rd quarter.
And a nice block at the point of attack by Vincent Impastato to lead the play. 1st and 10, 1:27 and counting, 3rd quarter. Raiders are at the De La Salle 45. Stelz gets another carry, his 3rd, and he's down to about the 41. As he's hit by Antonio Boyd, the senior defensive end, and the flags are down in the secondary. Loyacano was downfield blocking, and there's another flag. Apparently Loyacano has drawn some attention here from the officials.
Yeah, I think Coach Roth may have a few words with his offensive unit. Cool him down just a little bit.
I'd say that's cooling. Mario's an excitable player, very talented, a junior. And maybe got a little bit too excited on that play, and he'll be substituted for by Stephen Mirambell. That's a pair of dead ball personal fouls. That should cost Rummel 30 yards by the time this one's over with. That'll take care of a drive in a huge way.
You know, we're not far from East Jefferson School. We'll be in the PE department before this penalty's over, Kenny. You know, Rummel's really going to take them back. You know, they want to eat up that clock and just eat up.
Dead ball, personal foul on the offense. 2nd down.
But, you know, they don't want to be going in the wrong direction. They want to move forward and perhaps put some more points on this board. You know, De La Salle is capable of almost anything by the trickery they had on that score they had earlier in the third quarter.
A personal foul, walked off 15 yards, and now an unsportsmanlike conduct, 15 more yards. That is a 30-yard infraction, as it turns out. Way back to the Rummel 29 from the Cavalier 45. Now that, my friends, is a penalty. Wow. Huge.
It would take you $30 to get to the first down marker from this spot, Ken. Darius Wilson's really wondering, what am I going to do from here? It's 2nd and 37.
How would you like to call this play?
Won't be a draw play, you bet on that.
Well, might give it to number 3 one way or the other. Never a bad idea. Somehow you knew that was coming, and there's a lot of white shirts there, and he's got nowhere to go. Out of bounds near the line of scrimmage. And it will be 3rd down. And Jefferson Parish to go.
Rochelle Johnson on the stop among others, and Rochelle Johnson, as you mentioned, is going to mirror everywhere Parkett goes. Does a great job. He'll probably play strong safety on the next level when he does fill out, but he's 6'1", 170. He's coming back for his senior year next year. Does good job, good drops, and he can play either an outside linebacker or a strong safety, and boy, he's all over the field.
Eric Smith into the game, a tailback. Parkett gets a blow on 3rd down and 37. Darren says, Eric, you take this one on 3rd and 37. And Eric will to the right side. He might throw. No, he's going to cut it upfield. Evades one tackler. Nice move outside. Eric Smith breaks another tackle and another. What a great run by Eric Smith. This kid's going to be a good player. I'm very high on his abilities, and he's a terrific young man. I've spent some time with him. Very impressive run by Smith. He picks up 23 yards to midfield. Fresh legs.
And with
showing
that,
you some ability. He started last year against Jesuit.
And with that run, Ken, he's already exceeded the amount of yards he had coming into this game. He came in with just 20 yards. He ran 23 on that play right now, gives him 43 on the season. But great second effort. Breaks a tackle there. Another one right there. A couple of more before it's over. An arm tackle right there. Look, keeps his balance, and had it not been that last tackle, he might have got his balance and been end zone bound, but it's 4th and still a nice little ride.
Derek Gograve limps toward the Rummel sideline. That's why we've had the stoppage in play. It's like he may have bumped an ankle. Rummel runs in their wide receivers with the plays from the sidelines. Gograve is one of those, and we hope he's okay as he makes his way toward the sideline. Last year was life and death. These two teams were 21-21 in the 4th quarter before Rummel was able to pull away and win 35-21. This has been a different type of game. It is 4th down. Rummel likely in a punting situation here. 4th and 14.
Back up.
So they cannot overcome the 30 yards in penalties, and they will punt, but they've got themselves very good punting room, and they need that because, as mentioned, their punter, Patrick Murphy, is hurt and out of this game. Gerardo Galdamez is going to punt. Galdamez stands at his 35. Takes an extra step to get his punt off, I'm told. So we'll watch that. Play clock expires. That's going to cost Rummel 5 yards. With 3 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. I got to believe if De La Salle was aware that Rummel's backup punter was punting coming in, that they'd be rushing. But they don't appear to be here. They look to be in a return mode with this alignment. And a low snap. Galdamez digs it out, and he somehow got it off, and he's decked. Goes out of bounds. Galdamez did a good job to get it off. And that's going to be roughing the kicker. Boy, I don't know how he missed that ball. I really don't.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker.
Boy, there was no question if that was contact. And Robert Davis came, Katie bar the door, banging in, and ran into the punter, Galdamez, as you mentioned, and the Raiders will have new life here.
A little bit of a discussion going on. Bob Taylor walking upfield now. They will penalize De La Salle. Galdamez did a good job to get that punt off, considering the circumstances.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker on the defense. First down, and we're going to play an untimed down.
You know, Robert Davis came what appeared to be unattended on the outside, and you're right, it's unbelievable he didn't block that.
What Taylor means when he said we're going to play an untimed down is the fact that the clock expired in the third quarter, but the quarter cannot end on a penalty, so you will get a free down here if you're Rummel with no time elapsed off the clock. So officially, no matter how long this play takes, as you look at the scoreboard, it officially will not have taken 1 second. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Ken.
I've heard of fast 40-yard dashes, but let's watch this play. Somebody's going to run a 0-40 here.
It wouldn't help me in my 40. I'd still time out somewhere about a 7-3.
Well, it wouldn't have helped you 20 years ago either, but that's another story.
Oh, wow.
From the Cavalier 39-yard line off of the automatic first down. Wide side, left side of the field. Parquette counters right. Stelz the lead block, and Parquette for about 5, maybe 6, driven out of bounds at that point as the third quarter will come to a close here at Joe Yeti Stadium. With our score, Archbishop Rummel 31, De La Salle 6. Back with our fourth quarter in a moment. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Bone Ford, Sean Curtis Christian School, Prime Equipment, Expressway Lanes, Millerine Seafood, AAA Trophies, DT Fashions, AMF Bowling, and WHNO Sports.
This game is brought to you in part by Prime Equipment Company, distributors of man lifts, tower generators, scissor lifts, and more for commercial and industrial contracting. For all your lifting needs, call Prime Equipment Company. Special thanks to Millerine Seafood for providing our TV crew with delicious sandwiches. Enjoy New Orleans seasoned California crawfish now at Millerine Seafood on David Drive. Visit their website at www.mellerineseafood.com. Marty Mellerine, a great friend, to say hello to Marty. Went over there to have lunch a couple of days ago, in fact. My friend Ed Daniels had a great time over there. Marty's a terrific guy. Great seafood over at Mellerine Seafood. Unsportsmanlike conduct against De La Salle, a penalty here at the end of the third quarter on the final play of the quarter. Results in the football being at the 20-yard line. Deep in De La Salle territory, we have a new tailback in the game for Rummel. Russell Russo is in the game at tailback for the Raiders. As Parquette gets a blow, Stelz the up back, 1st and 10, call it the 19. Stelz gets the ball, gets a block. Stelz barrels across the 15 and down to about the 13-yard line. If he gets his pads down, you don't want to be in front of him.
Not at all, and Justin Tyler can attest to that. Number 8, he just kind of stepped on him like he stepped on a beer can. And Stelz just busting through the initial pursuit and lowers his shoulder. Initial hit doesn't take him down, as powerful as he is. And second and about 4 yards, 3 yards to go. And the Raiders are driving.
Another fine block by LaCruz for the Raiders. He's back, and he really helps their offensive line. He's a good player. Stelz and Smith, the running backs now, and Stelz on a counter. Kevin trying to get outside. He puts his shoulder down, barrels inside the 10, 1st and goal Raiders to about the 8. Well, I think that's nice of Coach Roth and his staff to give Kevin Stelz some opportunities based upon the work that he does. Renee, this kid's a tremendous blocker, an unselfish player, and it's nice that he gets rewarded with a few carries.
It looks like Torrin White felt like he just brought down a Brahma bull, and it's not easy once he gets ahead of steam. But yeah, throw him a bone because he does such a great job blocking. Some happy faces here on the Raiders side.
Stelz the up back, and it will be Russo behind him, Russell Russo, with receivers to either side from the 7 officially. Stelz will get it again, and this time not closed down on and hit hard up front and dropped immediately. It looked like Marquise Hill was on his back. And that's a lot of man to be on your back. 6'8", 310, a junior. Marquise Hill, who will be a guy that commands enormous attention next year from all over the country.
He already has, Ken. Believe it or not, as a junior, he's already got scholarship offers from Southern Cal, Georgia, Florida, LSU, Tulane, Notre Dame, and Michigan. Guess who his uncle is? Cornelius Biscuit Bennett from the Indianapolis Colts. So he's got some pretty good bloodlines.
I should say. No gain on the play. 2nd and goal from the 7. Smith, the lone setback now. Stelz is in motion. Eric Smith on the carry. Nice cutback. Look at this kid run. Eric Smith's going to be an outstanding player, and Rummel has scored again. From 7 yards out, Eric Smith into the end zone, extends the Raider lead.
And the sophomore tailback shows what kind of bright future the Raiders have. Off some good blocks, good vision. He hit the crease, cut it back, bounced it around into the end zone. Good blocking on the right side. Good block applied by Mirambell. Good seal right there by Carlton. And Stelz kicks back and punches out the quarterback as he tries to tackle Smith. Good, well-conceived play and well-designed. And the Raiders are going for point number 38.
Reads the block very well, and then he makes his move decisively on the cutback there, and that's what you must do. Eric Smith did that very well. And this one is up, and Molina converts again. He's perfect on the day. 10:06 to play. It's all Raiders. Rummel 38, De La Salle 6. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports. Chris Molina to kick it off for the Raiders. And Tolliver and St. Julian are deep. Nice kick here, and returnable from the 1. Looked like he was on the end line, but he won't get to the 20. Bunch of red shirts are there to stack him up around the 18-yard line. It was Hatfield, I believe, that was back. It was Darrell Hatfield that time who was back, and Hatfield returned it. Cephas Williams at the bottom of the pile for Rummel. And now the Cavaliers will start from their own 18-yard line with 9:58 to play. Again, the no-huddle defense will be employed here.
And you can bet Sailor's going to air it out here with 9:58 to go in the final stanza. These Cavaliers, this is their final quarter of 1999 season.
Sailor wants a timeout, and he will get that granted to him with 9:58 to play. So timeout De La Salle, 38-6 Rummel. You're watching the High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports. Sailor to Thomas on first down. Thomas sprinting toward the sideline. Has a first down before Brulette can bring him down at about the 31-yard line. James Thomas from Sailor for about 13 yards. And I'd like to take this opportunity to say hello to Jack Carson. Jack Carson is at home recovering from bypass surgery. Jack's a longtime volunteer at Rummel High School. So Jack, get well fast. Everyone misses you out here, and we certainly hope you're enjoying the telecast today.
Cavalier 31.
There's another trick play. Sailor will go deep. Look at the arm, but too tall this time for St. Julian. As Prescott, Casey Prescott, the sophomore, was chasing. De La Salle scored earlier on a trick play. That's been their only bright light offensively in this game.
And St. Julian with 29 grabs on the season. He's that deep threat with that 4-5 speed. Just outran the coverage. Ken Sailor couldn't hit his mark, but stops the clock 9:32, and Cavaliers trailing by 32 points here, and you know they'll come out firing again. Sailor, you know, Sailor has the chance to go to college and play perhaps two sports. We mentioned his baseball abilities. Also, Louisiana Tech, Northeast, Northwest Louisiana, and Utah State are looking at him.
Nice swing pass here, and close to first down yardage out of the backfield is James Thomas. Before he's wrapped up by Mitch Graff. The Raiders. Graff, the fine sophomore cornerback, has him. Lamy in at defensive end for Rummel, along with Sealing.
And Whitman also on the stop as well, throwing out in the flat, kind of isolating him. Thomas on the smaller defensive backs, and boy, I tell you, he commands respect with the size and speed that Thomas has.
James leaves the game. Darrell Hatfield is in on 3rd down and 1 from the 40 as Sailor barks signals, and in motion goes Davis. Hatfield On the reverse pitch again, an errant pitch. Sailor chases it, picks it up, evades one, evades two. He's going to flip it, and it is caught to the 30, breaking a tackle to the 35, and still short of a first down on an eventful play was Everett Nolan. Well, you've got to give Vincent Sailor a great deal of credit for being able to not only come up with a ball, but evade a huge loss and get the ball forward for, as it turns out, a loss of 1, and De La Salle may go for it.
Kenny, I think I saw this play on Football Follies, but it turned around and it wound up being a pretty successful play. 4th down could have been a disaster for the Cavaliers, and Nolan made it into something with a pass from Sailor.
It is 4th and 2, and they will go for it from their own 40. And give it to Thomas. First down, Cavaliers running hard. Boy, he gets north and south pretty quickly, and he's to the 49 for a gain of 10. First down, Cavaliers, under 8 minutes to play.
You know, he also missed 4 games. Thomas did this earlier this season, gave Hatfield an opportunity to gain some much-needed experience. And, you know, Thomas has kind of taken Hatfield under his wing as a younger brother, if you will, and kind of showed him the ropes and showed him a lot of little intricacies about the De La Salle offense and really built up his confidence. So Hatfield will pick up the baton and carry it.
Cavaliers take a timeout, 7:52 to play with our score. Rummel 38, De La Salle 6. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports. Sailor delivers, pass is caught by Nolan, breaks 1 tackle, and then he's down by Roulette at the 44-yard line. And that's a gain of 7 yards, and it will be 3rd down along 3. Make it 4 for De La Salle. Rummel territory, that's our score. The Raider cheerleaders are enjoying themselves. Rummel High School.
Everett Nolan really become a primary weapon of Vincent Sailor, particularly this drive, Ken, but in a pretty good game. The big 6'1 junior will be back next season.
Off of the blitz, Sailor with time, has isolation, going deep and incomplete. Nice coverage on the play. Tried to get it to Javier Cutno, but Mitch Graff just blanketed him on that particular play.
You know, got Graff coming back, Dunbar, both sophomores. Whitman comes back as a junior, and Brett Bradpole is the only one that exits this season. But you know, you got a lot of youth coming back here, and the Catholic League has so much talent. Freshmen, sophomores, and juniors returning for next season.
Well, they'll have Lamar Mills, Stephen Gordon back up front, and as you mentioned, 3 defensive backs. So 5 starters back next year. They'll have to find some replacements up front for the likes of Vinnie Mills and Brandon Danville. But you see the outstanding coverage by Graff. And Sailor's sacked as we're back to live action. And that's Lamar Mills, and there's another flag on the play, as Lamar Mills is really going to be an outstanding player. He already is a good player, getting more and more playing time. De La Salle was pointing at Rummel in this particular instance.
Dead ball, sportsmanlike.
And it is on Rummel.
42.
And we got a number there. And that's one thing that Rummel is going to have to curb as they get to the playoffs. They're a highly penalized team, and you can't afford these against teams of equal or better talent. These are the kind of things that sustain drives, and instead of a 4th and long play now, the unsportsmanlike will give De La Salle a first down from my perspective. Remember, they had the 30 yards in penalties earlier on 1 play. And it is a first down to the Rummel 38.
And I'm sure the Raider defense has some pride. They want to keep the Cavaliers out of the end zone. And of course, De La Salle, there's no tomorrow for them, so there's pride at stake here as well. A high-powered offense, averaging 20 points per game. Only with 6 points, going to muster 6 points so far this outing.
To the Cavalier 38-yard line, or rather to the Raider 38. Cavaliers with the ball. Sailor out of the shotgun. Against the blitz, steps up. Nice delivery, caught, breaking a tackle inside the 25 and down to the 23-yard line is Robert Davis. 15 yards, Sailor to Davis. Boy, Sailor's been standing in against the blitz all day. He's taken some hits.
He's had some blitzes, but I tell you what, he stood in there and had some pretty good protection coming from the outside. The heat is on. Hits Robert Davis' leading receiver with his 45th reception of the season, and he is fearless. You know, it's tough to bring him down. The first defender hardly ever brings him down.
To the Raider 23, deep shotgun, Sailor delivers, and there it is, and that's a touchdown. De La Salle scores 23 yards. Sailor to Javier Cutno, and the Cavaliers have dented the Raider lead.
Well, he broke that tackle. That's what his specialty is. Cutno, 5'10", 165 sophomore. As Vincent Saylor tosses for yet another score. He's got 15 on the season, 2 this evening. And as much as he throws the ball, Ken, keep in mind he's only had 3 picks on his passes this season. And Cutno with yet another grab. He's had a big game today here, big season. His 3rd touchdown of the season.
Cavaliers will go for 2. Down 38-12 here. Saylor will bark the signals. Trifecta behind him. It's a little bit of a T formation behind him. Thomas wants to throw wide open. That will work. So the 2-point pass to Greg St. Julian makes the score 38-14. LHSAA with a lot of tricks in their play bag. And they pull them out here for good use. Timeout on the field. 6:34 to play. Rummel 38, De La Salle 14. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports. Russo on the return on the bouncing kickoff across the 35 near the 36-yard line before Tolliver was there to bring him down along with Torrin White, and Rummel will start on offense with 6:30 to play, leading 38-14, and they will have Matthew Dick at quarterback, the junior, taking over. Wholesale changes for the Raiders, looking at their offense, as a lot of kids will get some time now. Mirabel, who's played a lot, is in the game, but he has some others in there with him, like Raphael Sadi, the senior. And over the football for Rummel now is Sean Villamaret, the sophomore, at 230 pounds. Dick, the quarterback, drops the snap. Problems here. De La Salle has it. So you make a whole lot of changes, and you have a problem.
Well, the youth will learn, because that is the future of this. You know, a player goes down. Someone needs to step in with experience, and De La Salle has another opportunity, trailing by 24 points. But Matthew Dick had performed admirably in the absence of Darius Wilson. Just tried to pull back a little too soon. Loose ball jumped on by a Cavalier, and Cavaliers Vincent Saylor turns it over to him again, and he'll see if he can muster up. Good look at Gwayne Matthews, the headmaster of the Cavalier football fortunes.
Saylor will give the Thomas, who will pitch to Saylor. Another trick play. Saylor rolling, nobody open presently. Throws, and it's knocked down by Clock. Almost made a nice pick. Clock closes quickly on the ball. Runs very well for a linebacker. Not big by Division I standards, but good speed. And if he can put another 10 or 15 pounds on, he's a legitimate Division I player at linebacker.
Yeah, we looked at him. You know, he's got pretty good strength. Kenny bench presses 350, squats 465. He had 10 stops against Shaw Banner Day. Very physical. And as we mentioned, good drops as evidenced by the interception he had in the 3rd period.
2nd and 10, Cavaliers at the Raider 35 with motion from Nolan. Saylor is going to go deep, man coverage against Dunbar. Dunbar reads it. Couldn't quite get to it, but great coverage by Dunbar on St. Julian. Most teams go away from Terrence Dunbar. He's a very good sophomore cornerback who's only going to get better. He
does a great job, and that was a great play of the ball. Kept the inside really blocked off, didn't allow the receiver to have much leverage in the way he was going. Got a couple of picks on the season. Pretty strong, comes up and fills very, very well. Bench press is 290, pretty strong for a 5'8", 175 sophomore.
3rd and 10 at the 35. Again in the deep shotgun will be Saylor. Raiders showing blitz off the corner. Let's see if they come here. They come with a blitz inside instead, and the pass is caught. Nice catch by Robert Davis, who shows you his skill, going up to get near the 21, 14 yards, first down Cavaliers.
Great leaping ability, and he'll be back to haunt those defensive secondaries in the Catholic League for 2 more years. Only a sophomore, fearless, and we mentioned he's not only a good receiver, Kenny can run after the catch, and pretty good blocker as well. Good curling right here in front of coverage. Came back to get the ball, and first down for the Cavs.
Front of Prescott and Clock. 6 minutes to play. Bad snap. Saylor chases, still chases, kicks it, falls on it. Down at the 46-yard line, takes a huge loss of 25 on the play. Unfortunate for the Cavaliers. They mark it at the 45, making a loss of 24. When you line up and shotgun that much, you'll have some errant snaps, and we've seen a few today. Timeout Cavaliers. So they take the timeout with 5:45 to play. We take the break as well, 38-14 Rummel. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports. Hatfield carries, short yardage for Thurl to about the 42-yard line on 2nd and 34. Mike Dubuque has him, and it will be 3rd down and about 32 yards to go for the Cavaliers. Cavaliers with some players going both ways, getting up slowly. You know they're tired. Raiders make a few substitutions, and a Raider limps off the field. That would be Ken Lannon, the defensive lineman, the senior, getting some playing time.
You know, Michael has had a good season. Kenny had a returned a onside kick earlier this season, did a great job. He's just against Brother Martin and got an interception to his credit, a couple of quarterback sacks. He's very, very active, probably the hardest hitter on defense.
David Abear at the nose defensively. This pass is at the feet of Brouillette. Incomplete, almost intercepted. A little bit errant from Sailor, and it will be 4th down for De La Salle. As a result, from the 42.
You can have some Catholic schools come out of this district into the playoffs, Ken. It's going to be interesting how far they go. A lot of talent, a lot of strength here, and interesting to see how things fare out when the smoke clears, when the pairings come out.
Shaw Rummel are very high seeds entering the process, but St. Augustine is a dark horse based upon the way they've played over the last 2 weeks, 48 and 49 points respectively. This is 4th down and 33, and Sailor delivers to no one. Just didn't have anywhere to throw the ball. Flushed out of the pocket, he had to throw it away basically, and Rummel will take over on downs with 4:56 to play, in command, leading 38-14, and they'll work on that snap exchange this time.
You can bet they want an opportunity, and this is the group that you got to be kind of fearful of, because they want to show Coach that they deserve to be on the field, and sometimes you get some firepower out of the ones that the players that haven't had much game experience, and this is the group that's on the field right now. A lot of sophomores and future talent for the Rummel Raiders.
Dennis Casey in there at guard. He's been a starter part of the year. Now Corey LaCroix is over the football. He's been a center previously, as we mentioned last year. And this is Russo outside. Nice run. Breaking tackles left and right. He fights to near midfield. Good run by Russell Russo. Picks up 6 on the play to the 48 before he's knocked out of bounds. White on the stop. 2nd and 4 Raiders. 4:48 to play.
Eric Smith returns to the lineup. Get a play, bounces it outside. Russell Russo uses good speed, breaks his initial contact right here. A would-be tackler for the Cavaliers. That's Rochelle Johnson for a nice pickup of 5 yards. 2nd and 5. 4:48. Did go out of bounds, but good field position.
Dick 3-0 as the starter, the junior. 7 of 19 passing, 47 yards coming in. And the give to Smith, bounces it outside, slips, and a good tackle here. Maybe a yard, and that's all by Torrin White. He wraps him up, and the clock will continue to tick, and it will be 3rd down and about 4.
Torrin White, very active. You know, he averages about 4, make that 8 or 9 tackles per game, and he's been very, very active. Gets to the ball pretty quickly. He didn't start until about the 4th or 5th game of the season, but done a great job. He's a junior. He will be back as Eric Smith tries to bounce it outside, and good tackling, good technique right there on Torrin White.
Smith's going to be a good one, as we mentioned. The running back, it's been tailback U of late for Rummel. Sterling Green, Michael Burks, Darren Parkett. Will Smith be next? 3rd and 4 at the 48. And this is Russo in the backfield in trouble. White shirts everywhere. A big loss on the play. That's Alex Desi coming up from strong safety to finish him off. The senior makes a fine play, and that will force Rummel to punt the football.
He's a designated run blitzer from that strong safety position. Hits everything coming, and he finds his way to the ball pretty easily. Look, and Desi's on the move. Bottled everything up, and look, Desi comes in the field, does a great job. Support by Rochelle Johnson. So it's 4th, and the Raiders facing a decision here.
Oh, you would imagine they'd run the clock down and then punt the football here with a 38-14 lead. unless they want to get some work in on their punt game. They might just be taking a penalty here. I think that's what's happening. Or they call timeout with 1 second left, and they'll send their punt team out. They just wanted to eat as much clock as possible in this situation, and that's exactly what they did. We'll take the break. 3:17 to play. It is Rummel 38 and De La Salle 14. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Bone Ford, Sean Curtis Christian School, Prime Equipment, Expressway Lanes, Millerine Seafood, AAA Trophies, DT Fashions, AMF Bowling, and WHNO Sports.
After a punt of 13 yards, De La Salle's Vincent Saylor loses 3 yards running. Ruffino hits him. It's 2nd and 13, and Saylor delivers toward the sideline, almost intercepted. Pass broken up nicely for Rummel by Dennis Ryan, the sophomore, who's in playing now for the Raiders. A lot of players getting a lot of playing time for Rummel here today, and they have quite a bit of depth. And as mentioned, they'll lose 6 starters off of this defense, so Jay Roth, knowing that full well, doing what he can to get some playing time for players.
Excuse me, Ken. Dennis Ryan is another one of those young players. Motor is always running, and boy, he gives you everything he has. He's a good linebacker for the future.
3rd and 13 from the 40. The motion man is Davis. Saylor with a snap against the blitz, rolling away from it, in trouble. What a play. Coming inside on the blitz undeterred was Matthew Chatelain, who just barreled through. The sophomore linebacker drills Saylor, who's really taken some shots today.
He came through a spot that was vacated by the center, and boy, I tell you what, Saylor just had nowhere to go and just wrapped him up for a big loss. 4th down for the Cavaliers as we approach 2 minutes.
This game is brought to you in part by Prime Equipment Company, distributors of man lifts, tower generators, scissor lifts, and more for commercial and industrial contracting. For all your lifting needs, call Prime Equipment Company. Saylor walks toward the sideline. Timeout is forthcoming, obviously, because the play clock is winding down. So is the game clock. He's a very worn young man at this point, having taken a lot of hits. And a flag will go down. This is going to be a penalty. They didn't take timeout. Delay of game, De La Salle. That's your story. Rummel in control, the home team.
Game offense, still 4th down.
And now the Cavaliers will likely punt the football. As Meister will drop into punt formation, and Gogrieve will drop deep for Rummel.
Randall Meister in punt formation for the Cavaliers. Darren Gogrieve deep for the Raiders.
Meister standing near his 7. Quick snap. Wobbly spiral. Gogrieve. Fair catch at his 45. With a minute 28 to play, Rummel will get the ball one more time here this afternoon. The player of the game is sponsored by AAA Trophies, located at 3813 Florida Avenue in Kenner. See the best in championship awards. Visit AAA Trophies, 467-7384. Our thanks to John Sullivan and AAA Trophies for their support. And Renee, a lot of guys played well here. Stephen Gordon was terrific defensively. So was Benny Mills. Offensively, Kevin Stelz, a terrific blocker, had some nice runs. Darius Wilson played well. But I guess you really can't ignore Darren Parquette's efforts here today. As Eric Smith, fights forward for about 3. Parquette scoring 3 touchdowns. Was close to 200 yards. We'll get his official stats. He also caught 2 passes. 205 yards for Parquette and 3 touchdowns today. So he'd be my choice based upon those numbers that he accumulated today.
I concur, Ken. In fact, not only today, but the contribution he's made throughout the entire season, led the Metro in rushing, close to the state title as well, state lead as well. And boy, I tell you, a lot of these runs he made today, a lot of individual effort.
26 carries, 205 yards, 3 touchdowns for Darren Parquette, who could end up as the state's leading rusher. This is Russo. He fights hard and gets forward across midfield to the De La Salle 47 for about 4 more. Rummel will likely have to run one more play before this game is done. Raiders huddle up one more time. Rummel's going to finish 9-1 for only the second time in school history. They were 9-1 in 1974. That's a long time ago. I recall that pretty well. I seem to remember being a senior at that time.
I wasn't alive then, Ken, but I tell you what.
Rummel went to the state semifinals that year. Lost to Fair Park in the semifinals up in Shreveport in a game they really outplayed Fair Park. And Eric Smith on a delay. He almost pops it. He has a first down on the final play of the game to the De La Salle 36, and the Rummel Raiders have done it. They have finished 9-1. Very high power ranking into the state playoffs and a definite threat out of the New Orleans area as they have defeated the Cavaliers of De La Salle by the score of 38-14 here this afternoon. A convincing win for Rummel, and I think an impressive win in the sense that they were coming off of a very emotional loss a week ago. You didn't know how they would react. Jay Roth wasn't sure how his team would react, but thanks to the help of that man, among many others, Rummel was victorious 38-14. We'll take a timeout here. Back with our post game in a moment. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports. Rummel defeats De La Salle 38-14 this afternoon. And we salute our player of the game, Darren Parquette, for his 26-carry, 205-yard, and 3-touchdown performance, 2 catches for 20 yards as well. Our player of the game sponsored by AAA Trophies, located at 3813 Florida Avenue in Kenner. See the best in championship awards. Visit AAA Trophies, the number 467-7384. Tune in to Sports Page. That is Monday night, 6:30. Saints, Tulane, LSU, prep highlights. And Sports Page hosted by yours truly for the latest in sports in New Orleans. Tune in Monday night, 6:30 for Sports Page, only on WHNO TV. We will have a playoff game for you next week. Can't tell you what game yet, but we will have a first-round playoff game for you next week here on WHNO. And Renee, I know you look forward to that.
Oh, I do, Ken. And the Raiders going to the playoffs very strong. Cavaliers play with a lot of heart. Looking forward to next week.
Indeed, we are, as Rummel has defeated De La Salle 38-14 en route to the state playoffs. Thank you, Renee. It's great to be with you once again. We started doing this a few years back, man. It's nice to have you back.
My pleasure, Ken.
All right, we want to thank John Bertucci, our entire crew at WHNO, Buddy Dennis for his outstanding help upstairs here this afternoon, and for Carlton Cisco as well. I'm Ken Trahan, reminding you that our final score was 38-14 Rummel over De La Salle. Thanks for joining us. Be a good sport. God bless you, one and all. So long for